So I'm half Italian and half Brazilian. My mom, she's Brazilian, my dad is Italian. And I started doing yoga like on a path of recovery from injury. I used to be a principal ballerina with the Birmingham Royal Ballet. And while I was dancing, I used to be injured like a lot. So I started doing yoga because it was very good for the body. And then slowly I start practicing the asana part, and I get more and more interested into the spiritual path. So from the 99% practice and 1% theory, this 1% of theory become very, very important to me. So I go on the quest and I find my guru, which is like Sri Dharma Mitra. And my guru, which he is in New York.
And where do you teach?
I teach in Birmingham. I teach in Birmingham and in London mainly. So I'm based in England, but I travel a bit around the world, and I offer like workshops and masterclass, and I try to spread the teaching of my guru like around the world.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about what the Dharma Yoga main characteristics are, just that for who doesn't know about it but is in the yoga path can have an idea of what are the main like key elements?
Dharma Yoga is a system, very classical system of Hatha Raja Yoga. So it will include like a asana parts, it will include a pranayama, meditation and chanting. The base is like on compassion. So without yamas, there is no yoga. Without ethical rule, there is no yoga. There is a healthy lifestyle. So you need to be a vegetarian or a vegan if you follow like the Dharma Yoga. And is a healthy like lifestyle. So clear mind, healthy body, and a kind heart. So that is the most important. It is a devotional practice. So in Be Devotional, there is a complete surrender of the ego, and we offer our practice towards the greatest energy. So we transform our asana practice into a devotional act. Every pose is an offering towards, it can be like the Almighty One, or in the end is what is already inside ourselves, because I am God and God is me, I'm you and you are me, and it is like the Soham.
And concerning the asana practice of Dharma, is there like a pre-built sequence, or it changes from class to class?
So Sri Dharma has probably 5 different sequences. There is like a Dharma Gentle, Dharma 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then later on, when you study long enough with the guru, then he allowed you to teach masterclass, which means you can teach a class. We have a framework. The framework that you want us to follow is simply like Surya Namaskar. You need to be there to warm up the body. And then there are certain poses that we always need to do, which they are the king of the pose, like a headstand, then the queen, which is the shoulder stand, and then a fish pose, and then pranayama and meditation. So they are the only things they want us to do. Of course, there are 908 poses. He's very, very famous for his poster of 908 poses. A lot of poses he invented themselves. A lot of them, they are based on different lineages. So he told us the whole story of how he actually did the poster. And it was on his own. It was like a devotional act. It was an offering towards his guru, Yogi Gupta, which was actually the first yogi that brought Hatha yoga in America. Sri Dharma, he was actually, he's a Brazilian, he is Brazilian, and he was in the Air Force. And he was injured for a long time with his knee, and he was in bed. During his injury, he started to do a lot of meditation. Then he followed his brother to New York, and he met Yogi Gupta, and he followed the path, of Yogi Gupta. And 10 years later, he opened his own school. And then he created his poster to thanks to thank you, like his guru, and he became very, very famous. A lot of people, they actually have the poster and they don't know that he's actually Sri Dharma Mitra. And he told us the story how he actually took the pictures one by one. He was on his own, and he had actually a very small Nikon camera, very old-fashioned, that he had a little pump that you need to click, and he had the pump inside his mouth. So he practically would set the camera and then run, click with his teeth, and then spit the little pump out and being in the pose. And a lot of position, you need to do it poses, you need to do many, many times before he actually could catch himself in the right position. It wasn't like now.
What years was this?
Oh, that was, I mean, he's 78 now. So he was around, I think when he was around probably like 33 or something, 33 years old.
And how many years ago did you started studying with Dharma Mitra?
4 years ago, actually, met Sri Dharma. I always was very interested by his lineage. I started like with Ashtanga Yoga with Michel Bernard, and I did my first 200 hour, 500 hour in Ashtanga, and with David Swenson as well. And then I'll move a bit more towards like the spiritual path, and with the quest to self-realization, that is, like the real goal of life. So now that is, Dharma always said the greatest charity is to impart knowledge and bring people on the spiritual path. So he said that if you have even like a little glimpse of that light, you should share it with other people. And that is why we are the vessel of our Guru.
Very nice. And if you had to say, in all those years of practice, you have a very beautiful practice. It's really inspiring to see you practice, and very strong also, and gracious at the same time. So those opposing elements are so present when you see you practice. What would you say has been the biggest gift yoga gave you, the biggest insight?
I think, realizing that we're not what we see, that we are not the mind, that we are not the body. And this attachment that we have, especially coming from a sports background, from an art, and something that it was very subjective, where, everything it was very external, coming into something that is very internal, this internal quest. It wasn't anymore external. So for me, doing ballet, it was everything very external. It didn't matter how you felt. You were doing a show. So you were there for other people to entertain. And now is helping other people, and is an internal journey. And this internal journey, I can share this internal journey with other people, and I can feel like I'm helping people, so not just entertain them. So I think that was the greatest gift, I think. But I'm influenced by different things. I think as well, in my practice as in my teaching, I've been influenced, for example, the spiritual side, of course, is Sri Dharma. And then and he's very humorous, he's always make joke, he's so humble, he's very, very humble, and he has this great knowledge, and they explain things like you are a child. So he actually imparts the knowledge he's not pretentious at all. So if you don't understand, he will explain you things in such a simple way that is a joy to actually listen to him, even if you never heard any of these, because it's quite, sometimes people, they are scared when they start embarking in this spiritual journey, because they're thinking, is it that a religion? Are they trying to change my lifestyle? People, they're very protective with what they do and how they think, because it is from many years and many generations. And the way how Dharma explain, he use a lot of metaphor, So I always say that, for example, to explain about the soul, you always say the body is the mobile phone, and we are the spirit, the soul is the line. And it is a very simple way to explain, especially people that they are in New York, people that they use something. Or for example, how you withdraw the senses. It's like having a computer, and you switch down, you close down the windows. And then you can switch off the computer, like little things like that. Or like, if you bring the car to the mechanic, you need to switch off the engine. So to say like, if you want to start listening to your soul, you need to get, like to move beyond the body and beyond the mind and start being the witness without explaining in a very difficult way. So I use a lot of metaphor, and I think Sri Dharma always said that it is much easier like to be on top of a mountain and being a renency where there is like no temptation around you. But of course, if you are in the center of New York, there is temptation everywhere. So that is where the real yogi come, because you have so much temptation around you, and you need to try to be compassionate and resist the temptation that is around you. So I didn't need actually to go to India, because sometimes people, they say like, have you ever been to India? My guru, he was there in the center of New York City.
Now, you don't teach only Dharma yoga. No. You teach also other styles. Can you tell me a little bit about this?
Yes, I teach Rocket Yoga. Larry Schultz is the founder of the Rocket Yoga, which is a dynamic style of yoga. Larry was a student of Pattabhi Joy, and he was for many years a student of Pattabhi Joy. And then he created this routine to give the Westerner the ability to make the whole series. So he gave a lot of modifications and variations for the Ashtanga. So Ashtanga sometimes it can be quite hard for someone that sit on a chair the whole day. So for the Westerner, it was really, really hard, because they didn't have like open hips. In the Western world, we sit at 90 degrees, we eat at 90 degrees, we drive at 90 degrees, we're at the desk at 90 degrees. So they don't have that flexibility of the joints. Like, for example, it would be like a young Indian like boy that's, from really early age, they do this physical practice. So it's a very fast practice. So it's an Ashtanga based practice, but it's at a fast pace. The Rocket 1 is very similar to the primary series. The Rocket 2, there is many elements of the second series, and the Rocket 3, there is element of first, second, and third series, sometimes fourth series as well. So depending on who is teaching the class.
Okay, thank you. And then you do also another style.
Forest yoga. Yes.
It's a woman that founded this method.
Yes, Anna Forrest. Yeah.
So the method takes the name from her.
Yes. Forest yoga is about strength and breath and integrity. So it's about connecting with our spirits and living in our own truth and tracking down our emotion. So living in the life in which we are today, but with our own truth. So using our breath to heal our body and being very kind to our body is a very, very intelligent lineage. In the way she actually studied with the younger. She must be like in her 60s now. Yeah. Incredible practitioner and very kind human being. She has a very distressed background, and she's helping many people around the world. She call it like mending the loop. She wants people to walk in beauty. Everyone deserves to live a life and regain their freedom and regain, the joy of living. So the practice is a very soothing practice. It feels very good. It feels very, very nice. Everything feels very nice. But at the same time, there is a lot of emphasis on the core strength. The leg, they're always active. The feet, they are active. The spine, there is an elongation of the spine. It's a very safe practice. It's very good for people that they are injured. They are very good for people even that they are pregnant. It's a very long-last practice. You can practice this lineage for many years.
And in your daily own practice,
yes.
What do you do?
It's a bit of mix. It's a bit of mix in my own self-practice. Generally, I practice what I'm teaching. So, for example, if I'm teaching Dharma yoga, my practice it would be a Dharma-like practice. If I'm teaching rocket, it would be a rocket. If I'm teaching forest, it would be forest.
And on the day you don't teach?
I Probably like a bit of everything. I probably warm up with forest, as she has like these wonderful, like, poses that she creates for warming up. And I do all the core work, which is as well like forest. So practically the warm up is forest, and then the practice is a mix probably in between Dharma. Yes, the strength, let's say it, of rocket and the compassion and the devotion. So it become like a devotional practice, but there is many elements still of Ashtanga underneath and the rocket underneath. Yeah.
So a bit of everything.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to thank you very much for coming here at Agricola Samadhi as a guest of Yoga and Salento Association, and I really hope you will come again.
Thank you for inviting me here. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much for being here.